Welcome back to Mr. JDM. This is the second part of the 98 Honda Odyssey. This should be the final episode of this head gasket replacement. Let's get on with the 98 Honda Odyssey and get this thing done and get it out of my driveway. Alright, so the first half of this video is pretty much gone because I'm an idiot. For whatever reason, I was not recording when I thought I was recording, and I was recording when I thought I wasn't recording. So the first half of this video is just doesn't exist. I had everything laid out on the table. I had the head looking all nice and all the parts laid out. But anyway, it's we'll just pick back up where I guess the video starts. All right, we got the head down. We got it pushed down on the dowel pins, so it is where it's gonna stay, hopefully from here on to the rest of its life. Let's go ahead and start getting the head bolts in. All right, and one of the head bolts is quite a bit longer than the other ones. This one goes in the back right here. It's the center back one. We're going to add a little oil to the threads. Drop them in one at a time. Not going to bore you with the rest of them, but it's the same process. Okay, so at this point we're ready to torque all the head bolts down. This isn't the normal three-step torque sequence. Normally on like B series and D series engines, and probably H and maybe even K series, I don't know, but on this F series, the F23A, this is a F23A7, but on all the F23As, you torque it down to 22, and then each bolt you torque 90 degrees twice. So I have this tool here that will allow you to torque the angle. You basically stick it on here, you zero it out. You know what, I'll show you once we torque down all these bolts. So we're going to torque all these bolts down to 22 foot-pounds. Actually, I've got it set on 25. Alright, we have them all torqued down to 25, and now we're going to do the 90 degrees, and you do each bolt 90 degrees twice. Now, I don't know if you're supposed to do 90 degrees and then another 90 degrees, or if you do 90 degrees on each bolt and then you do 90 degrees again on each bolt. So that's what I'm going to do. It doesn't specify in the book, it just says 90 degrees twice. So I'm going to do each bolt 90 degrees, and then we will go back and do each bolt another 90 degrees. Basically, you put it down, you zero your dial, you put this little piece right down here to keep it from turning, and then you turn it until it hits 90 degrees. And there we are, we're at 90 degrees. So I'm going to do each one of these bolts, and then we'll be right back. I was curious on how tight the torque is, and so I kept upping it like 5 degrees with my torque wrench, and I got to 96 foot-pounds of torque, and that's pretty much where they're at, if that helps anybody. But I wanted to make sure that they were all the same, because some of them were 96, some of them were probably 95, and I was able to turn just a tad bit before it popped. It's probably not how you're supposed to do it, but this whole degree torque thing just doesn't make sense to me. It should be a certain number. in my opinion at least. Alright, so we got the head bolted down. We need to get the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold back up. We need to turn the cam pulley to match up with my lines on the belt. That way I don't have to go back and set the timing again. And then the distributor, I got new spark plugs, I got a new distributor cap, and then alternator and power steering, and then we're done. I mean, we want to change the oil and add antifreeze and a new lower radiator hose. But there really isn't much left. Alright, we're back. It's the next day. I stopped to eat after I got the intake or the exhaust and the intake tightened down. There's still one bolt that's down here that I just can't get my fingers on there just right, so I'm gonna get it from up underneath. But all the other bolts are tight except for that one that's down here. But I'm gonna go under and get that one. But while I'm under there, I'm gonna go ahead and get the exhaust bracket put back on and the bracket for the intake manifold that mounts to the back of the block. And I have tried to pull the belt back up onto the pulley, and I am struggling. I cannot get it on there. I've even loosened the tensioner bolt, which is like right there. It still won't give me enough tension to pull the belt up onto the cam gear. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might just pull the crank pulley off and then pull the cover and reset the whole timing. It's not what I wanted to do, but it is what it is. Alright, so this is the bracket that is on the exhaust. This piece right here. You stick it in here, you tighten these two, because race car. You stick it in here and you tighten these two, and then you put these two, and then the bolt right there is for the bracket on the intake manifold, and then the other bolt, don't know if you can see it, but it's up in here for the exhaust or for the intake manifold that I had to get. Can't really see it from down here. I just had to do it by feel. I really need to get the oil filter off, and also need to replace the sway bar bushing right here, because as you can see, there's no bushing left. It's pretty much just gone. This side isn't so bad, but it's still, you can see it's all cracked and it's crumbling apart. Looks like they got some weird gasket on here. I hope this isn't a pain in the ass to remove, because we are definitely draining the oil. Oh well, let's go back up top. I also have another hose that I need to replace. It's this one right here. It's the heater hose. It's pretty squishy. I feel like this one would be the next one to pop, and I need to replace the thermostat as well. But right now I'm going to work on trying to get this belt back on the pulley, because I don't want to have to hook all the belts back up and then come to find out I can't do this, so I'm just going to have to redo the whole timing. So let's work on this. Alright, we got the belt on and all my marks line up. Have put some lubricant on there to help it slide a little bit better. So that was a trick that helped me. It might help you. Alright, so next we're going to get all the vacuum lines hooked up, then the distributor, put the valve cover on, and then after that we're going to try to start it up to make sure the timing is set correctly, and then we'll get the power steering and the alternator installed. Alright, so I got a lot of it back together. As you can see, fuel rail, all the vacuum lines, throttle cable, and we got the 2 brackets on, and I got the alternator. I got the tensioner tightened, and I was going to just go ahead and do what I can just to get it started, but I decided to go ahead and just slap it all back together. Hopefully it works. I have trust in myself, so it should work. I'm gonna get the distributor on. I already swapped over to the new distributor cap and the new rotor, so I've done that. I'm about to get the heat shield back on. I do still need to replace this hose, but I don't have it, so I'm not going to do it right now. Maybe another time. But oh yeah, I need to get the VTEC solenoid. Shit. Well, I guess that's next. Alright, we got everything back together. I'm just going to add water because I still need to replace that one hose, the heater hose. I don't have it, but I want to make sure this thing starts up. I need to add oil, so let's go ahead and do that, and then add a little bit of water, and let's get it started up. Alright, so as you noticed when I started, it made a loud clanging noise, and it also leaked oil quite a bit, and that's because the valve cover holes are stripped. It just doesn't tighten down. And I knew that going in there, but that's how they were, and it didn't leak before, so, you know, I went ahead and tried it out, but it definitely leaks. And then the clanging sound was my valve adjustment. I need to adjust my valves, so I printed out the instructions on how to do it. I'm very familiar with it, but I don't remember every single little step because, you know, I do it like maybe once a year. So first things first, we need to get some helicoils inside of these so we can tighten the valve cover down and it doesn't leak oil. Luckily I have this helicoil kit that I bought off Amazon, and we need the M6 by 1, and that's what this is. It'll fit in there. We just need to drill out the holes, re-thread it, and then drop this down in there. So that's what we're gonna do. I've shown this in a previous video on a transmission mount, so I'm not really going to go over it in full detail, but it's really quite simple. Alright, so I don't want to get metal shavings everywhere, so I put a piece of tape with a hole, and I've got my vacuum. I'm going to vacuum as I drill. Hopefully this works out. Got a little friend on my vacuum cleaner. I don't want to scare him, but I've got to turn this thing on. Alright, we got our hole drilled. We just need to vacuum out the inside of it, and then we can put our threader and thread that hole, and then we can stick the helicoil down in there. Alright, we got number 1 of 3. We're going to do this one and then this last one over here. I'm not going to record any of it, I'm just going to do it. Alright, we got all of our helicoils in there. Alright, we're at the point where we're going to do the valve adjustment, and we've got our cam gear facing up, and I've got this long screwdriver in there. That way I can for sure know it's top dead center, because I can watch this go up and down as I turn the crank. So we need to adjust the exhaust and the intake valves. Here are the directions. I'm not going to record this because I've done this before, so I'm just going to get it done, and then we can move on to the hose, the heater core hose, because I've got that right here. And once we're done with that, we'll be done and we can get this bitch out of my driveway. All right, we got everything back together. We got that hose, the heater hose replaced, lower hose, upper hose. We got the head gasket, head bolts. I mean, that's pretty much it, I guess. New spark plugs, new spark plug wires, new distributor cap, new rotor, and so I say upper hose, oil filter, clean antifreeze. Ooh, that was not cool. I'm an idiot. All right, that was a major fail. Anyway, this thing should not come off that easily. Maybe it's time to get a new one. But we got new antifreeze, so everything's new. Not everything, but a lot of stuff is. Let's give it a first start. Let's get that put away. Get this put away. Let me find my... Alright, let's hope she starts. Alright, she's pretty quiet, to be honest. It sounds really good. Sounds nice. Alright, I'm going to adjust the throttle and I'll be right back. Alright, we got the throttle cable adjusted. Now we're just waiting on the engine to warm up and for the fan to kick on. And then we take it for a test drive. Alright, so here's the deal on the Odyssey. It starts up good, it runs good, no misfire, no engine lights. But the only thing is, right back here, oil leaks right from there when I start it up. I don't know why. It's a slow, steady stream. Makes no sense to me. So I'm thinking maybe when I put the head on, the gasket got messed up, or a little piece of dirt got stuck under the head as I put it on. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. So I tried to review the footage from me putting this on, and unfortunately I was recording when I put the camera down, but I wasn't recording when I was doing the work for some weird stupid reason. I got the record on and off button backwards, of course. So let me start it up and show you what it's doing. Alright, it took about 5 minutes for it to start, but it just started leaking right there in that corner. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. We're pushing about 20 minutes. But I don't know where this leak is coming from. It makes no sense. There's no oil passage on that side of the block or the head. It's like it's coming out from that head bolt. Maybe that head bolt goes to the oil passage and it's cracked or something. It's not the cam seal. I checked that, So I don't know what it is. Maybe that the head is cracked, or the block is cracked, or the block is warped. I'm not 100% sure what it is. It just makes no sense to me. There's no oil passage on that side of the head or the block, so that there's no oil getting into the coolant or vice versa. There's no reason why oil should be leaking from where it's leaking. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm stumped. So I'm going to end the video here, and in the next video we're going to figure out a solution, and we'll continue then. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.